Only God is keeping us safe. That's how some border officials, frustrated with lack of requisite logistics, respond to the situation. In our series highlighting the state of Ghana's entry points dubbed porous borders, correspondent Peter Senu visited 4 border posts in the KJB district in the newly created Oti region and reports one of the main challenges to border control there is the inability of officials to distinguish Ghanaians from non-Ghanaians at their various posts. There are details in this report.
We began our checks on border post at the Kechi outpost in the Jasikan district, which is under the Nkwanta Sector Command. A visit to the border post would leave one in search of. Apart from the main or approved border that is managed by immigration officers, there are the outposts too, which anyone can use to exit or leave the country without any checks. Some officers who declined to be named described the situation as dire, and the conditions in which they serve are not any better.
We need men and a lot of logistics. Sometimes we patrol from here to Bethel. I don't know whether you know Bethel. We patrol to that side. Even that place, there is a bridge that they just passed there. So when we went, our boss went and laid it before the DC. That if they can give us a structure there, it would be good to station some of our people there. But all boils down to funds.
Yeah.
So there is no.
So your motorbike, you fuel it yourself?
We fuel it ourselves.
Wow. So there's no reimbursement?
There is nothing. We fuel it ourselves. Here, you have covered yourself like you see. Usually I'm wearing shorts.
Don't go flights.
There is something at Pokuase. There's something at Amaso.
Yeah.
I think they are around the whole of this place. The rest they will be there, no, then they will come. You know, when the rain falls so much, they want a dry. So you'll be there, no, they will come. So in the evening, you can't move without a torch. Before you move, you touch around. And
this is the Kechi outpost of the Ghana Immigration Service. I am told there are 3 other unapproved routes used by visitors either to evade tax or for various mischievous reasons. We are told that at least 4 men are supposed to be on duty for a rotational period of 7 days with 1 pistol, which some residents describe as a toy gun. Some officers have expressed their disgust at the deplorable conditions in which they live and work, but for fear of disciplinary actions that would be taken against them by their superiors, they would rather remain silent. The situation is not any different at the Pokuase outpost in the KJB district. The worrying trend is that some settlements have developed behind the border post, and so it's difficult to tell who is coming in at any point in time. What's more, there are several links to the town, which officers say is a difficult thing to manage. One of the men takes me to an unauthorized route close by. He tells me it's difficult to tell a visitor from an indigent. The 3rd outpost visited is the Ahamaso Pillar 83, which is also classified under the Nkwanta Sector Command. The situation here is almost a hopeless one, as this river separates the outpost from the unauthorized routes. This man provides the service of carrying people to the other side of the river. None of the men could swim when I asked those on duty at the time of our visit, not even the canoe service provider. This is the daunting task of defending a nation.
If you want to cross around this time, what do you do?
Oh, they are there to cross us.
But if it gets flooded, you can capsize. Boat can turn upside down.
If they can't go, they will just tell us. Then we will use the main road.
That's the risk involved. Then we go and use the main road.
The main
that
road.
one too, they will blow alarm down.
You're coming. But can you guys swim?
No, really.
The commander in charge of the Nkwanta sector, did not agree to have a recorded conversation, said that no serious threats have been recorded across his borders, but admits the borders are porous. He echoes one of his men's words, "Only God is watching over us." He also admitted having issues with motor riders from Togo entering Ghana and some community elders from same intervening whenever the riders breached the law. Mr. Faye has since been organizing security sensitization sessions for selected groups in the KJB township.
Some angry residents and drivers at Pokuase in the Ghana North municipality of the Greater Accra region this morning blocked portions of the road in the area to protest the deplorable nature of their roads. According to the residents, the stretch has been in a bad state for over a decade. The protesters earlier blocked the road at 4 different spots. They say previous complaints to authorities have not resulted in any substantive action. Convener of the Pokuase Residents Association, Fred Mensah, spoke earlier on News Desk.
The nature of the state of our road is very, very, very bad. And we have given a lot of complaint about it. Unfortunately, I don't know which the leadership are not listening, but or they cannot do anything about it, or they don't want to do something about it. But I think as citizens, we have the right to demonstrate when we are not satisfied with what happens in our town. So that is what we plan on doing today. Fortunately for us, we had the masses coming, about more than 1,500 to 2,000 people coming on the street. And then, unfortunately, getting to the end of it, the police decided to come in. And I think that some of the people, the demonstrators, misbehaved and caught the attention of the police reinforcement, and that is what we are trying to control the crowd now. Now, what happens is that we have spoken to them on several occasions, and when you speak to different leaders, they give you different stories, and that is what called for this demonstration, because we wanted to know the truth of the state of the road. Some of the leaders, I don't want to mention names, are saying that the road is already done. Some are saying it's given to contractor, and the contractor is nowhere to be found, and that they have to call the contractor back to come to the roadside. Some are also saying they have to, when you meet different occasions and in different places, they give you different stories. So we decided to come here, at least demonstrate to them that we want to get to the root of this. We don't want the stories. We don't want the reasons. We don't want whatever reason what is happening. What we want is the road is fixed. This road is an old road. You know, from here to Amasama, it's not any road. It's not any distance. But when something happens here, even to get to the Amasama hospital, it's a whole issue. You get it? And our fears, when it rains, children don't go to school. When market people don't go, you find yourself. In fact, we are really suffering because of this road. Wasting cars, you can't apply on this road and put your gear ahead. It's always first, second. And you understand what first, second, that's a vehicle. So that's what we are doing.
Okay, so you've told us about the different responses that you've gotten from various leaders. I'm asking you, what means you've used to address the issue? So is it that you've held meetings with them, you've written to the local assemblies? I just want to know what you've done before this demonstration.
We have gone to the MP's office. We have met with yesterday we met with the honorable member, that is Moses Enim. But you know, this place it has been divided now. So we have two MPs. We have tried several means. We have written letters to them. They have come to us. Sometimes, the beginning of this year, they came and promised us that by March, this road will be fixed. We have waited till March. Today, after March, we went there again to ask them what is happening to our road, because our people are suffering. We are suffering. We can't be fixing our cars every day. Now, as I speak to you, I park my car at Pokuase. Anytime I'm coming from town, then I come back when I go, because it is safer there. Every week, if you want to use your car on this road, every week, you have to do something on the car. And we can't be wasting money like that. We can't be throwing money away.
Now, Ochehene Osajifo Amwetia for Penning says the future and prosperity of the Eastern region is largely dependent on agriculture and not mining. Speaking at the second Eastern Regional GJA Award ceremony under the theme, Securing a Malaria-Free Ghana, the Role of the Media, Osajifo Amwetia for Penning said, mining has not given local communities the developments they require. According to him, dugouts in mining areas breed mosquitoes, which eventually cause malaria, reduces productivity in the country, and in most cases, kill people. There's more in this report.
The Ochehene observed that through the years, mining has had little benefits for residents in the region, adding the activities of miners rather has adversely affected the people, as dugouts in mining areas breed mosquitoes, which causes malaria, reduces productivity in the country, and in most cases kill the people. He believes the region will benefit more if government invests in agriculture and engages most of the youth in that sector.
And planting for food and jobs and rearing animals for jobs. We can create that and have our young people have careers in farming. Environmental degradation and poor sanitation are powerful contributors to many of today's pressing global health threats. 90% of over 4 million deaths caused by malaria are linked to environmental degradation, such as open water pits and irrigation such as one constructed by illegal mining. I'm saying have caused havoc for the last 10 years. And a country that's ranked bottom last of the countries that have malaria cannot continue to have open pits, to have stagnant water, to breed mosquitoes and bring disease-carrying mosquitoes into our home. Medical science in our country cannot secure Ghana of malaria-free Ghana. It will depend on us.
Osagyefo Amoitio for opinion urged the Ghanaian media to be bold and speak truth to power. He says the media owes Ghanaians the right to information and hinted that until citizens change their attitudes and lifestyle towards the environment, they will continue to suffer the effects of malaria.
We will need to come together as one people and help and support our friends in the media. One thing about the media that you need to have courage. Citizens will have to challenge politicians to account. But the media also will have to write and speak truth to power. In places your voices may be lonely, your voice may not be recognized. It may be misunderstood. You may be talking up to power in the corridors of politics, but speak anyway. Speak anyway. Because speaking and writing will change things. You and I probably don't have the power to persuade policy, to legislate law, but we can speak. The only thing I got is the right for me to express and communicate ideas and try to persuade policy. But I'll tell you, there's another right that we don't know.
Eastern Regional Chairman of the Ghana Journalists Association, Maxwell Kudeko, expressed worry over the lack of interest among journalists in the region on malaria reporting. He urged journalists in the region to prioritize matters that affect the people in their news reporting.
We need to tell the Eastern Regional story better. We need to tell the Ghana story better. No one can do it better than ourselves. We can and we should, yes. In telling our stories, we may face obstacles, but we have to develop a character that is ready to achieve a common goal through thick and time. This whole project, that is the Eastern Regional DJ Awards, is mainly hoped to help guide and shape our journalism practice with development orientation.
Away from that, police sources have discounted new reports of suspected killing of women at Santase Apre in the eastern region. The Ashanti Regional Security Council revealed last week police have arrested some suspects in connection with what appears to be the serial killing of women in parts of the region. Subsequently, Love News carried a report in which residents of Santase Apre reported the killing of at least 2 women in the community, causing fear and panic amongst them. Police are yet to comment on the developments, but highly placed sources say what the community is reporting is part of ongoing investigations. Let's hear from Erastus Asaidonko now. Right, so Erastus is with us on the phone lines. Good afternoon, Erastus.
Good afternoon, Daniel.
Help us understand, what's the background of the story?
Well, so within the past 1.5 months, residents of Santase Apre have witnessed or found the bodies of 2 women placed at different locations within the town. In fact, what the residents say is common with the two findings is that all of them were half naked. There was a wooden bench placed in between their chin and their legs, and they were kneeling in that position. And they claim that they link it to ritual, practices. But then the Regional Security Council met last week, and they have also added a number to this. They have 5 cases of women killed in the region between March and April this year. And they are saying that they are conducting investigations and that in some of the cases they have even made arrests. And that is what the residents are saying, that, well, they are still living in fear. But the police sources are saying that, well, they have not reported any new cases. These are old cases that they are investigating.
And so no progress has been made in terms of establishing who killed these women?
Well, the police claim that they've effected some arrests. Up to now, we have not heard the names of these suspects, who they are, or whether it is linked to all the 5 cases that the Regional Security Council made mention of. But in connection with the 2 women who were found at Santasi Apre, we've not also gotten any information from the police as to any arrest and what the motive is behind these killings and who are killing these women, why are they killing them, and why are they dumping them in that part of Kumasi.
Thank you very much, Erastus Saridonko, for that update from Kumasi. Now, it has emerged the consortium of local companies which hold majority shares of Power Distribution Service, PDS, were not properly evaluated before being awarded their shares. Speaking on the Super Morning Show today, Chairman for the Civil Society Platform on Oil and Gas, Dr. Steve Mantiel, said Santa Baron Ventures Ghana, TG Energy Solutions Ghana, GTS Engineering Ghana Limited, and TBK Ghana Limited were required to invest 51% of the $580 million injected, which will be injected over the next 5 years. So it was necessary for their financial muscle to be checked beforehand. Government recently suspended the concessionaire arrangement after the insurance guarantee tendered by the company were brought into question. Now, Dr. Steve Mantiel said the crisis PDS is currently battling with only goes to show that the majority shareholders lack the capacity to manage an investment as huge as the electricity company of Ghana.
I think it's a fair comment really to make. And we have had cause to make the same comments and question, the capacity of these local partners to actually take up 51% of ECG. And if you check our comments to Parliament, that was really our focus.
Apologies for that soundbite there. Now, away from that, Communications Professor Kwame Kakari has called on President Akufo-Addo to reinforce his lifelong stance as an advocate of press freedom. Adding his voice to the ongoing Defend Media Freedom campaign, the Dean of Communications Studies at Wisconsin University said, despite critical roles the president played to advance freedom of expression in Ghana, it's unfortunate that press freedom is currently under recession during his reign.
An individual citizen. When I say it is sad that press freedom is under recession under Akufo-Addo, I'm saying this because he's a man I have always respected in this terrain, in the terrain of human rights, in rule of law, in good governance, and so on. He's played some very critical roles in press freedom. I remember that about 1992 or 1993, when we were struggling for press freedom, when we were working for the freedom of Kweku Bako, Haruna Atta, and others who were being incarcerated left and right, we set up an organization called Friends of Freedom of Expression.
Okay.
And Nana Akufo-Addo, then in opposition at the time in the 1990s when Professor Edubuahin was the head of the NPP, Akufo-Addo was a very active member of this advocacy organization made up of journalists, academics, and so on and so forth. Now, he's also being the main proponent as Attorney General in the legislation to reform or repeal the criminal libel and seditious libel laws.
The Board of Trustees of the National Cathedral is fighting off claims that that edifice is unnecessary. Secretary to the board, Reverend Victor Kusi Boateng, maintains the cathedral, once completed, will be a cash cow for the country, even though it will not be fully funded by the taxpayer.
Building the kind of a cathedral we are building doesn't happen in a day. The first phase is the drawings, the architectural drawings, after which you go to the structural drawings, after which you come down to the acoustics, after which you come down to the landscaping, and then quantities and all that. And like you already know, it's a very, very imposing and a building. So that's going to take us months and months and months. We are at the demolition stage, and we are almost set with the drawings, and very soon you guys are going to see action on the ground.
Okay, so in all, how much are we looking at in this construction? How much money is involved?
We are not going to spend anything less than $100 million. Yes. We are not just building a national cathedral, but the amount of monies this cathedral is going to generate for the nation is interesting. It's going to generate a lot of monies, and I can say on authority that it's going to generate more monies than all the sports stadiums in Ghana put together. Is it? Yes.
How come?
Okay, number one, let me tell you. One, it's going to be, we want to create something like an African Israel tourist center. So you have thousands of people just coming in to see the first of such an iconic cathedral ever done in Ghana. It goes beyond the regular national cathedral that we are talking about, when our models are ready to be very interesting. And secondly, you and I bear record with me that Accra Sports Stadium was built with your money, the taxpayers' money, 100%. Am I right or wrong? Right. And then every generation of income goes into the consolidated fund. Am I right or wrong? Okay. For the first time, your tax money is not going to pay the National Cathedral, and yet every dime that shall be realized will go into the consolidated funds like the sports stadium goes in. Why should we fight it? Because we are rather spending our monies, rallying throughout the world, talking to presidents, talking to people, and people are ready to support us.
The president mentioned that he was going to give you a seed money. How much is he giving you?
They still haven't told us. We're still pushing. We know the challenges. If it comes, praise God. If it doesn't come, we are ready to work. We are ready to build this cathedral.
Now, day 5 of the hashtag Ghana Grand Tour kicked off in grand style from the Modern City Hotel in Tamale, as a regional minister, Talifu Said, and members of his team hopped on their bikes to pedal alongside Ian Walker and his riding partner Joel Downham as they exited the northern regional capital. They weren't the only ones who caught the Ghana Grand fever this morning. Members of Basic Needs Ghana, a mental health advocacy group, were also at the starting lineup with their bikes at the ready. Kojo Yangson has details. Right, so Kojo is with us on the line. Kojo, what can you tell us from day 5?
Well, it started off rather emotionally as the regional minister, Talifu Said, and his staff joined Ian Walker to ride out of Tamale. So a number of them saddled up and rode alongside him, as well as members of Basic Needs Ghana, which is a mental health advocacy group. Now, they rode for a total of about 12 kilometers, and it was a grueling ride. Many of them actually had to give up halfway through. But one man who did not stop pedaling was the regional minister. He demonstrated quite a lot of stamina. He stayed up ahead of the pack with the two main riders all the way through for the 12 kilometers to the final point where they said goodbye to Ian and Joel, who continued the ride. Now, just about 20 minutes ago, the two riders, His Excellency Ian Walker and Joel Downham, marked a landmark when they went across the halfway point, 500 kilometers done. What this means is that they have another 500 kilometers ahead of them. We are currently in a village somewhere on the road between Tamale and Salaga. And at this point, the spirits are very high. There's a lot of energy, and they are ready to continue their 140-kilometer journey for today, which will end in Salaga.
Kojo, when is the entire Ghana Grand expected to end?
On Sunday. Sunday will be the last day of the tour, and it will come to an end with a big ceremony in the Independence Square. But the final leg from Tema to the Independence Square is going to be a big fanfare. Lots of celebrities are getting ready to join that ride, and it's going to be a nice, slow but very enjoyable pedal all the way from the harbor city into the capital city.
Thank you very much, Kojo Yangson, for those updates. Kojo is with Ian Walker as he embarks on the Ghana Grand. Take a listen to this, though.
Right, so we just did it. 500 kilometers. And look, I want you to come closer. Let me show you something. You should expect this man to be sweating like the proverbial. But look, he's almost completely dry.
Still here.
Yeah.
Nice breeze.
And congratulations, by the way, on crossing 500 kilometers of the Ghana. How does it feel?
It was good. Halfway there, and it's been absolutely brilliant so far. It's, you know, we said at the start it was never designed to be an endurance event. It was meant to be fun, and every pedal has been really good fun so far. So enjoying it a lot.
Fantastic. All right. So of course you've got another 500 kilometers to go. You feel more able to make it now.
Yeah, but you say it like that, it does sound a bit ominous. But we're going well. You know, we've got a few days to get there. We're going to be in Accra on Sunday. So yeah, lots of things to cover, and looking forward to the next bit of the road as we go down to Salaga and to Damboy. It'll be interesting, I think.
Yeah, it should be. Well, congratulations. Very well done.
Halfway there.
Halfway there, right? All the best. Here's to the next half.
Nice one.
As always, on your bike.
Cheers.
All the best to His Excellency Ian Walker as he embarks on the second half of that 1,000-kilometer journey. Coming up in business, though, customers of Group Indom get a glimmer of hope as the Finance Ministry starts paying outstanding monies owed the group. Emmanuel Abajiriafi has those.